Welcome to another Apollo Papyrus podcast episode. I am Aaron Apollo Camp. For this episode, the 50th of season 9 and the 394th overall, my interview guest has owned numerous businesses, and he is the author of the nonfiction book Connection Expansion. You are one connection away from massive success in your life and business. His name is Devin Sizemore, and my interview with Devin will follow the note-taking sound. Devin Sizemore, welcome to the Apollo Papyrus podcast.
Thanks for having me. Excited to connect with you.
One of your more interesting business ventures is a cat cafe. What is a cat cafe, and what motivated you to get involved with running a cat cafe business?
Yeah, good question. So my wife and I launched a cat cafe a few years ago. So a cat cafe, I like to relate it to a trampoline park. So you pay by hour to hang out with the cats. It's great for people whose spouse have allergies, so they can't have them at home, senior citizens who can't have them in their living situation, college kids who can't have them in the dorms. So it gives you a chance to hang out with the cats without the pressure of having to adopt if you go to a typical shelter. However, part of the business is helping with adoptions through a partner. And we came across the business idea because I saw a YouTube video years and years ago, and we were looking to do some sort of investment. So we decided, that would be a fun combo where she could bring her artistic skills, I could bring my business skills. We ended up launching the cafe in 45 days. And then after 6 months, we ended up selling it to an employee. Since then, she's paid us off early, she's rebranded, and she's launched a nonprofit. So super cool business, very random, but lots of impact and a lot of cool stories.
Feel free to tell our listeners more about yourself and some of your other business ventures.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm a serial entrepreneur for sure. My first big business was a marketing agency, really in the digital marketing space, bought some agencies and then sold that. Ventured into a co-working space, a manufacturing company, the cat cafe, did a stint in the PEO and HR industry, all sorts of different things. Through all of that, consulting has been the thing that has been there for the better part of 15 years. In between consulting, I'm always dabbling in something.
Your nonfiction book that you've written is titled Connection Expansion. You are one connection away from massive success in your life and business. Without spoiling too much about your nonfiction book, what is it about?
Yeah, so I wrote the book because what I found is people want more referrals, people want more connections. They just don't know how to scale it in a systematic, predictable, and duplicatable way. And so the book walks through the connection expansion system, which teaches the reader or the person that engages with it exactly how we build networks that generate consistent and predictable connections, which lead to predictable referrals, which lead to predictable revenue. And it's the full system. Nothing's hidden, nothing's held back. All the scripts, timing, templates, language, it's all in there. So if you're looking to grow your network, whether you're a college student or a billionaire, it'll work for you.
I believe in your book, you outline what you call the connection expansion exercise. What is that and how does it work?
Yeah, so it's really the core of the system. Actually, it's so fun because we do it every day for different clients and I see people go through it. What it does is it helps you shift who you're asking to be connected with. I like to use realtors as an example. If I ask a realtor who they want to be connected with, they'll give me their ideal client profile. Great, that's a good start. If I ask them who good referral partners are, typically they're going to default to an insurance agent or a mortgage lender. The issue with that is every realtor defaults to the same answers. And so the connection expansion exercise takes you through this process to identify 6 groups of people that have access to your clients. So an example would be, what vendors do your clients spend money, or where do your clients seek education, or where do your clients gather? And by looking at all of those other places, when someone asks you, hey, Devin, who can I connect you with? Or hey, Aaron, who can I connect you with? Instead of answering with the ideal client, you could answer with the best referral partner. So I want to meet mastermind coaches because we can partner and create amazing things together. And what that does is it allows you to get way more connections because instead of asking for a client connection, which creates tension and someone being sold, it creates a lot of friction. When I ask for the strategic connection, it's much easier to make the connection because there's no tension in being sold and both parties are winning. And so it really is the beginning of the foundation of the process, gets people to think different about how they build their network and what they're asking for in the meetings they're having.
The next three questions I have, because I will go back to asking questions about your book a little bit later in the interview, but I'm going to pivot for the next few questions to questions about connections for professionals. What is the best advice you could offer to someone who is just starting out building professional connections on how to network and build connections?
Yeah, another great question. The big thing when starting out is meet everybody. There's two things I've always had on a slide. It's adapted over the years, but it was a cup of coffee and a picture of a book. And the cup of coffee, the core takeaway there is just meet everybody. And the book is don't judge anyone. And I think so often when people start building networks or even are seasoned in building networks, they limit who they're willing to meet with or connect with because of assumptions. And the saying about assumptions is it makes an ass out of you and me. And so we don't want to assume anything. We want to meet with everybody. If you can take that approach and remain curious, you'll be amazed at what people are connected to, what doors they can open, what their spouse does, their family does, their friends do. You have no clue on a first meeting with someone what access they can provide for you, what value they can add. And so it's really, really critical to remain curious. And again, don't judge anyone, meet everybody.
What are some of the most common mistakes that professionals make when it comes to building their professional network?
Yeah, the number one mistake is selling too soon. A quote that I like to share is everybody wants to buy, nobody wants to be sold. And so this kind of goes back to the ask part where we talk about changing your ask. So often in networking, follow-up meetings, all those things, people default to selling, which makes sense. If you're a professional and you're scaling your network, typically there's revenue at stake and you need it because revenue is the lifeblood of business. If you are a college student chasing an internship, you're, likely trying to get in to make some money. If you're someone looking to change careers, again, you're looking for that perfect opportunity and you become blind to the real opportunities, which again, you don't know. And so often people default to their core ask or their core sale or being too pushy instead of remaining curious, being others focused, adding value, doing the things that build real relationships. And so you really have to shift the way you're doing it and you have to play the long game and stop trying to play the short game.
Is there any specific language that one should use or avoid when building new professional relationships?
Yeah, so the best language is about the other person. So my typical kind of check-in nurture email is, hey, Aaron, it's been a while since we last connected. What's new and exciting in your world? Any new challenges? Let me know how I can make connections for you or add value to your world. I look forward to hearing back from you. So everything about my messaging, from following up from a networking meeting to scheduling a meeting with you to following up from the meeting to nurturing you long-term to following up about connections I made, it's all about you. It's all about how can I add value to you? How can I help you? What can I do for you? And what we're doing is we're showing our network how to do what we want. And so if you want more connections and more referrals, you have to lead by example. And again, not default to selling. Where all of this goes wrong is when you shove someone into, and we probably all have had this experience on LinkedIn, right? You get the message that said, it sounds good the first time, right? Hey, we have a lot of connections in common. We'd love to connect. Great. So you add them and accept it. Then the very next message is, hey, I do this thing. You probably need it. Do you want to buy my product? It's some version of that. And you're like, well, you have no clue who I am. You have no clue what my pain points are. You have no clue what I actually need. Like, why are you trying to sell me? Why don't we just get on a call and explore how we could collaborate, add value to each other? And maybe I do need your product or service. But when you're that forward in your sales messaging, I don't want to take a meeting with you because all you're going to be focused on is selling, and I want to focus on building relationships. So you got to have the right language. It has to be about the other person. And then again, same back to the quote, stop selling, start connecting. That's another quote to keep in mind.
I'm going to pivot back to some questions about your book. How long did it take you to write your book?
Yeah, from blank page to published book was 45 days. Yeah, 45 days.
What are the easiest and hardest aspects of writing a nonfiction book for you?
Yeah, so it's a cheat code because I work with authors too, and one of my biggest clients plays in that space as well. But where I see myself going wrong and where I kind of spun my wheels prior to really getting the book done, and where I see clients spin their wheels is you have to have a few things. First, you have to have a very clear reader in mind so that you know exactly what journey you're trying to take that reader on, what their pain points are, what their bigger, better future is. You also need to have a very clear outline. Where are you going to start? Where are you going next? What are the chapters? What should be in each chapter? If you have a clear reader and you have clear chapter outlines, it makes the job way easier. If you just start writing without a clear reader and without an outline, you're just going to spin your wheels and you're probably not going to end up in a place you want to be. The last part I would say is you have to commit the time. You don't want to do it over 2 or 3 years. You need to commit daily time every day to write because as you write today and you go to sleep tonight, your subconscious will go to work and you want to capture that activity the next morning so we can keep the draft moving forward. So those would be my 3 tips to, having success in writing a book.
Is connection expansion independently, traditionally, or hybrid published? And what was it like to have your book published?
Yeah, so it's hybrid publish, which again is the company that is one of my clients as well. And so I self-published through Amazon, right? So I keep all the royalties and everything. Amazon's the best to publish. It's the best price. Author copies of my paperback book are $2.50, so it's good when you're mailing books out. But going in partnership with the publisher who can guide you through the structure process, the editing process, the ideation process, the title development, the cover design, the formatting, recording my audiobook, editing the audiobook, publishing the audiobook. So having a partner that can do everything in the process makes it so that you can focus on just creating amazing content. And so, yeah, I would never do it or recommend anyone does a nonfiction book any other way because you want to retain the rights long term, but you need help in the process so you can actually get across the finish line.
Do you plan on or are you considering writing more books? And if so, what are some ideas you have for books that you will or may write in the future?
Yeah, writing a book is an addiction. It's a true statement. And so I would say that once you see the results of what your book can do for you, especially in the business world, you definitely want to write more. I think we're exploring a version of this book specifically for college students to help on the career path and internship. And so all the same content, but really specific case studies, stories, and language around that. And then I have the start of a book. It's pretty well outlined on the 5 pillars of business and how to work your way out of a job. And that book will come at some point. I don't really want to consult on that right now, and there's no like back end sales opportunity. So at some point, I might release it as just a high value business book instead of more of a persuasive conversion business book. But either way, yes, there'll be another book at some point.
On your website, there's a form that one can fill out to subscribe to your newsletter, as well as access a resource library that supplements the Connection Expansion book. What can be found in this resource library?
Yeah, so in the resource library, we have a video that walks you through the connection expansion exercise as well as the templates so that you can build it out for yourself. There's also a lot of email templates in there that fit the process because I couldn't fit them all in the book. There's a little bit more than that in ACE's Connection Group, which is my free school community. So there's a little bit more content, a little bit more templates, a little bit more everything in there. So either place, you're going to get a lot of really good information to help you implement the system and get you started.
One final question. You run a group called ACES. That's an acronym which stands for Amplified Connection Expansion Society. How does your group work?
Yeah, so ACES is for anyone that wants to build real relationships with real people and make real connections. And I use the word real very intentionally there because it's an others focused group. You can be as involved as you want or not. We have a weekly connection round or a monthly connection roundtable where you can connect with other members. And then we bring in experts to share their wisdom with us. We go very deep in their topics. We've already had people talk about having hard conversations, writing and publishing books. We did one on advanced marketing systems. We have someone talking about communities coming up. We have a podcast launch person talking about the value of podcasts and how to use it. So lots of really good content. There's also free courses in there. And then the only kind of upsell is we do have a GPT, well, a couple now that are in there if you want to kind of take what we're doing to the next level and have some tools that will help you. But if you want to build your network, it's a great place to go and be around people that are doing the same thing and get a bunch of free content.
Devin, thank you for appearing on the Apollo Papyrus podcast. You were an amazing guest to interview.
Appreciate you, Aaron. Great questions and enjoyed the conversation.
For those of you who are interested in Devin's ACES group, I'll include a link to information about ACES in the text description of this episode. This is Aaron Apollo Camp reminding y'all to find your writing and reading purpose. Bye for now. Copyright 2025, Aaron Apollo Camp, all rights reserved. This podcast episode is intended for the private listening of our audience. Any reuse or retransmission of this podcast episode without the express written consent of the podcast host is prohibited except under fair use guidelines. Royalty-free music and sound effects obtained from https://www.zapsplat.com.